I think that in the end, the light will always win. So yes, there is always going to be a bright feeling. And I do believe that Indraloka and the many other wonderful sanctuaries that are out there, we will be a big part of that, because we humans need other animals probably more than they need us, but really what we need to do to heal our species and to heal our earth is we need to reconnect. We need to remember that we are animals ourselves, and that we are all related, that we are all connected, and that what we do to one happens to us all.
Yeah.
That's what sanctuaries teach us. That's what the animals teach us.
For nature.
For the ocean.
For people.
For animals.
Hello, beautiful community of the SANUSPLANET Foundation and SANUSPLANET podcast. It's amazing that you all are listening today again to this beautiful podcast, because we have I feel so honored to have this beautiful guest. Indra Lahiri is my guest today, and we are sharing so many values. And we will get into that. But Indra Lahiri, for everybody who does not know her yet, she's the founder of the Indraloka Animal Sanctuary. So it's one of my, most loved topics, animal sanctuaries. I love it. Indra, thank you so much for being here, for taking the time to share your story, to share the story of your animal sanctuary with us and with this community. Welcome to the podcast. It's amazing.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for inviting me and for doing all that you do for the animals and the earth and for the humans.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah. I just, you're one of my heroes, I have to say, really. All the people that care so much like you do, you are heroes for this world, definitely for me. You provide a heaven on earth for animals, especially for farm animals that have nowhere else to turn. I really love you, I have to say that. But not only you give a home to the animals in need, but you also inform and inspire and empower people, especially the children, on ways in which we can care better for ourselves and for the environment while helping animals in need. I mean, this is amazing. So your sanctuary is advocating for a kind and compassionate lifestyle that protects animals, the earth, and our own health at the same time. I think this all is such a beautiful 360 degrees vision of how I really wish the world to be. So thank you for everything you do. We will jump right into that. Indra, tell us a little bit about yourself. Have you been born as an activist, as an animal lover, or did you grow into it? But most of the time there is a story behind a story that makes us become the people that we are. What is your story?
Wow, that's a good question. I think I was born into animal rescue and the love of animals. I must have been doing it in a previous life and died without being finished, because I was literally finding animals, my parents say, from the time that I could walk, and just bringing them home. And I was very lucky that my parents were supportive of that. They loved animals too, and so they would take the hurt little squirrel to the vet with me, or help me set up a little box with a heat lamp in the bathroom for the kittens that I found, or yes. Whatever whatever I had going on, they encouraged it and helped me to do that. And so I'm very grateful for that. I just when I was very, very small, we had a dog named Panda. She was a boxer. And she was my best friend. And in those days, my mother was very busy. She had 3 small children. She had work. My father had his own business. And so, when she was home, she was trying to do multiple things at once. And so she discovered that our dog, Panda, was so good with me as a baby that she could not leave the house, but leave the room with, and I know these days that's not very popular to say, but remember, I'm old.
Not so old.
50 years ago, things were different. And, a parent could walk out of the room that a child was in. And so Panda used to watch me and take care of me to the extent that my mother tells the story that I never cried until I was 5 years old. Because every time I needed something, whether it be a diaper change or some food or something, my dog would come and get my mother. She would anticipate what I needed and go and
Wow.
get my mother before I actually began to cry. So I
So
had
she
no need.
felt it.
She felt it.
Wow.
Yes, because that's what they do, right? And
Mhm.
not just dogs. What we've learned is that's true of sheep, and that's true of horses, and that's true of chickens. You know,
Mhm.
the other animals, they're so much, especially prey animals, which are the animals that people often farm.
Mhm.
Um, they are very sensitive. They can hear our hearts beat. So they
Mhm.
know when that rhythm changes. They know our emotions because we actually give off a scent when we experience different emotions. And so they can sense that often before we do. So yeah, so she was able to take care of me, and she would, make sure I didn't go near the steps, and, nudge me away from the corner of a table as I was crawling around the room and that kind of thing. And she was really my nanny, and she was my best friend. And I think because of that, I that was a gift that was bigger than just taking care of me as a baby. That was something that shaped my world because I have always known and understood that they, being the other animals, um, understood me, and that they did have thoughts and feelings and would convey those to me, just with the course of their behavior and the way that they interact with us. And so I knew they were people from a
Mhm.
very early age, and I knew that they mattered and that they cared about us and wanted a very different relationship with the world.
So beautiful. I love it. I mean, I see that as well with my dog, what he feels and sees.
Yeah,
I know there is so much energy around that he can censor, that he can feel,
yeah,
where I am not aware of, but I see him, I watch him, and I see that he is aware of. So it's also inviting me to become more like sensitive to it. It's so beautiful. It's like teaching me. It's amazing.
yeah.
What happened after? Did you stay animal lover, animal friend all the time, or was there a
No,
you
all of my
stay?
life, I've always loved
Amazing.
them and needed them, quite honestly. I need them. They're the people that I turn to for everything, whether I just have to think through a problem or whether I'm just happy and want to celebrate.
Yeah.
The other animals are, they're my family. It doesn't mean that I don't have humans that are also part of that extended
Family.
family. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I was really, given a gift early on in life, and this gift of love from my dog Panda, and that has just blossomed into the love of so many people of multiple species. And, I felt really honored to be in a position where I could facilitate them getting out of danger and
Mhm.
into safety, and give other humans the opportunity to connect with them the way that I have.
Exactly. And that's what we will talk about now, because that's a really powerful tool that you're providing people and animals, I think, to combine, to connect them and to help each other to heal from the shitty traumas that are running around out there or that are everywhere. But first, let's go into the Indraloka Animal Sanctuary. Indraloka is Sanskrit, right? I
Yes.
read that. What does it exactly stand for? The name?
Yeah, so Indraloka is a Sanskrit word that is the name of the heaven for the gods. So
Amazing.
the basis of Hinduism is a belief that you are God, and that I am God, and that fly right over there is God, and that we are all connected and related, and we are all divine.
Yeah.
And so I felt that it would be, kind of beautiful to call the sanctuary Indraloka. And of course, especially because my name, Indra, I'm named after the god who
Beautiful.
created Indraloka. So,
It's so amazing. I love it. Such a beautiful story. And you first had a smaller sanctuary, I think about 30 acres, if I remember right. And
yeah.
now you have a quite big sanctuary. I mean, it's now 100 acres. How did that work? Or I mean, I think you're for everybody who doesn't know Indraloka Sanctuary, Animal Sanctuary yet. It's not far away from Philadelphia and not far away from New York, right? So it's
That's correct.
close.
Yeah. Right in
And
between.
how did that happen that you created such a big one now? How did it, I mean, 3 times as big as before? how did it work out as well with the finances? Because you need to grow, you need more money as well. How do you manage that? Because of course you grow more animals, you want to help the animals, you need space. How does that work?
Yeah, it's tough. I'll tell you, a lot of people say, oh, my dream is running a sanctuary. And there are elements of it that are dreamlike, like
Yeah.
it's wonderful to be able to rescue these animals and grow close with them and live with them day in and day out and learn from them. But as you point out, the really tough part is paying for it.
Yeah.
And there's no easy answer for that question. And I really try to caution people when they say they want to start a sanctuary that they need to be aware that this is going to be a heavy weight forever. You don't walk away from a sanctuary. Once you've got it, you've got it. That's it.
Yeah.
It's yours, and that's your life. So yeah, we were dedicated and committed, and we knew that this is what we wanted to do. And so, from the beginning of the time that when I founded the sanctuary in 2005, I always had this idea that 30 acres, was going to be a place that we grew out of at some point. And so we scraped and we saved and we looked for opportunities to get to know the people that care about animals and people that are able to give, whether that be $5 or $500 or perhaps, $500,000 if we get lucky, maybe 5 million one day. But the idea is that you just keep going and you keep sharing what you're doing and you keep connecting with others, because this is something that we can never do alone. Any animal rights work, animal rescue work, right? None of us can do it alone. So we have to look for those who have the ability to help us. And so that's what I did. And we were lucky enough to be able to come up with the money and find the place. And thankfully that was before the pandemic. So before the prices started skyrocketing real estate wise here in the US. So we were lucky and we're just, I wish you could come and visit sometime. I wish
one day I have to. I really want to be there and help you and show, check it out and connect with the animals there. It's like really so beautiful.
It's, this part of Pennsylvania, it's called the Endless Mountains, and it's green and it's rolling hills and songbirds, and there's still a lot of wildness here. So that's lovely, and of course the animals are wonderful as well.
Oh, cool. So beautiful. How many animals do you have there? Or how many animals have you been, maybe you know the number, how many have you already rescued and helped? And
so we have about 200 now, and we have rescued over, I'd say at this point, over 1,500 in the course of, all of the years of the sanctuary. Yeah. Yeah. And
so the other,
we don't keep them for the rest of their natural lives. We do sometimes when we can't take animals, but we hear about them needing things, we do rescue them and bring them to other sanctuaries. But once they're here, they're staying.
Yeah, I can imagine that they feel it when they are there, that they finally can release all of this pain. And I mean, you take care of the most at risk animals in the world. It means farm animals who face a lot of abuse and neglect and much worse their entire life. And I can barely imagine what they have been going through. I mean, I know the pictures, I know these things, but I just cannot put myself into it. And I don't even want to, as it's so brutal and bad. How do you manage to help them to get through there? Because they face a lot of trauma.
Yeah.
How does that work? So,
what is so beautiful about these animals is that they are naturally inclined to heal. So they don't identify themselves with their suffering the same way that we do. So they're aware that this has happened in their past, but they don't see that as their identity. They don't see their story as who they are. And so what we're really doing here is rewriting our stories, right? All of us. We're creating a new narrative, one in which all of that terrible suffering and for the animals, as many of us know, but it bears repeating, the things that they suffer are things that we humans couldn't survive. We would be unable to speak anymore, certainly unable to love or be loved. We would be rendered helpless and hopeless if we had to grow up in a factory farm, if we had to grow up without a moment's touch that was kind, or the littlest bit of comfort or love, even just a soft place to sit, just a clean place to be, any place to feel, all of that, right? So they don't identify with that, and they come through it, and then they see what's happening here. And sometimes, individuals are different, right? Some individual animals, within 2 hours of arriving, they've shed the past and they've said, oh, this is good,
And they run around on the field and have fun and show joy.
The other animals, they tell them too, they feel calm and they feel safe with us and they know that they're okay. So that helps as well. Some of them, it still takes a long time. We have a little pig named Chandra who we found, or somebody found, a Good Samaritan found a few years ago on the side of the highway. He was tied up with rope and metal, and it was and it was so deeply embedded in his abdomen that it actually had to be surgically removed. And his name is Chandra, which is my father's middle name. So I named him after my father, because my father grew up in wartime in India during the partition, and whatever it is that Chandra went through, it reminded me of the stories that my father had told me about just how terrible humans can be to each other and to other animals. So Chandra came to us several years ago, as I said, and even though now he's not afraid all the time, he loves us and he knows he's safe, but he still experiences panic from time to time. Like, for example, a man that he doesn't know. If a man comes into the barn that he doesn't know, he'll certainly run and hide. When we clean, anytime we use shovels or pitchforks or things like that, he screams. He's afraid of those things, like to the point where now we've learned we need to just move him someplace else where he doesn't even have to see any of that. He can just come back in and the barn will be miraculously cleaned. Experience that. But I say all of this to say that they don't identify with their stories, but that doesn't mean their stories don't impact them. So all of this is so great for us humans who have experienced trauma in our own lives, because there's so much to learn even in just those little 2 bits that we've talked about. There's so much for us, and there's so much hope in that for us.
Yeah, fully. I see that also with my Puma, my dog. I rescued him from the streets, and when for example, he's now with me since 5 years and he feels happy and everything is fine, but he still carries something. He's reminded of what happened to him before, and I don't really know what it was. But if for example, his front legs, when he's laying down next to my legs and I touch his front legs with my feet, no problem. But if I come close with my fingers or hand and touch his front legs just a little bit, he puts them back. He's afraid. So he's afraid of hands grabbing his legs somehow. There are some things that sometimes we don't know what happened, but something is still it's still there, and it reminds him of something. So I think that, like you say, they don't identify with their story, but they still somehow sometimes feel something that they have been through, right?
Yeah. And, the beauty of that is that there's nothing wrong with it. And so it's easy for us when it's a dog who doesn't want his legs touched, or if it's a pig who's afraid of the implements that we have to use to clean, it's easy for us to say, oh, let me make you feel safe. Let me give you a place where you don't have to experience the thing that scares you. That's something we don't do enough of for other humans. So often, how about if somebody says to you they're scared of dogs, right? So often we want to jump to, oh no, don't be scared, let me show you how friendly they are. Or somebody is feeling shy or uncertain in a group of people, and people are like, oh, well, you just got to get over that, you just got to get, we need to do a better job at understanding that if somebody is feeling a certain way, absolutely we'll support them to get over it as they're ready, but we don't need to force them into doing that thing.
Yeah.
we can be gentle with each other, just
Yeah.
like we are with our animals.
Yeah. Gentleness is anyway something that we need to practice much
Yes.
more.
Yes.
And I think with the animals, it's quite a good learning. They're good teachers in that.
Yeah, they are. They are.
Surely you did face also some quite hard moments. I mean, we have been already once we wanted to make this podcast already, and then we said, no, we don't do it today because it was a hard day for you. You don't have to explain this story now, but it was a really hard day. And when you shared the story with me, we were both crying, talking with each other because it was so touching and so crazy what people are in the end sometimes doing and putting to animals. Have you also been, or have there also been animals that couldn't get beyond their trauma at all, or where you still really have difficulties to help them, or is it kind of mostly somehow it's working out?
I have heard of that happening before. I have heard of that happening, especially with horses or with cows. I've never experienced it myself. So far, every animal that we've rescued has eventually, they don't eventually all start loving humans, right? Like we've got a pair of mules right now that really prefer that we feed them and leave them alone, which is fine. That's what we
Which
do.
makes sense. I get it.
They don't have to. They don't have to be with us if they don't want to be. They should have their freedom of their choice.
Yes.
Yeah. So that happens too. But usually they find, they find peace and they find healing.
Yeah. I was, as we with the SANUSPLANET Foundation, we are supporting as well the Elephant Nature Park in Thailand. And Leg Shalur, the founder, she told me the story of one elephant that they saved, rescued, and this elephant was going through so much pain. He needed quite long, and he started, elephants are big, they're strong. He started to pick up stones and throw them to the caretaker. So then it's getting quite dangerous as well.
Yeah.
And they're quite good at throwing stones. They know they're really good. So they really faced quite hard moments with this elephant to help him, but eventually they have been able to show him the love and the respect that he needs. And I think it's always love what we can share, and that helps to heal these wounds. Is it? I mean, like we're talking here about animals' traumas, but in the end, people have a lot of traumas too, passed on by other generations or passed on within each other, friendships and relationships and stuff. You found out, or you have a way to connect the animals with the people, so animals can help healing people's trauma. How does that work? Explain this, because I love this. I love this project. It's amazing.
So there are two kind of focus areas that we've embarked on around trauma and transcending trauma. So the first is what we call Indraloka Heals, and that is literally just what it sounds like. It's a program that allows somebody who's been through trauma, or even those who just are facing everyday life stress. Because remember, these days, life is pretty traumatic as it is. I mean, for all of us, just being in this world, as you pointed out, that is so lacking in gentleness and kindness, can be traumatic. But at any rate, whatever people are going through, we have a number of things that we can offer. We have things called access passes that employers can purchase vouchers to allow their employees access to the sanctuary, just time to spend, unstructured time to just hang out in the green spaces and hang out with the animals and recover from life.
Nice.
We have opportunities for therapists to bring their clients to come and do therapy, perhaps out in a pasture with some of the animals, or perhaps they just work together with the animals and it helps them to build trust and forge bonds, because it's so hard, right? For someone who's experienced trauma, it's so hard to trust. And of course, without trust, therapy is not going to be helpful at all. But we tend to be more ready to trust other animals than we are to trust other humans. And so what happens is, when a person can see that animals that they love trusts a therapist, then it helps them to build that trust themselves. So that's, kind of a simple example. And then we have different programs. Like, for example, this spring, we're going to be embarking on a project with a medical center, a national medical center. They have a program for mothers, new mothers who are recovering from substance abuse addiction.
Mhm.
And so those mothers are going to have the opportunity to go through a program that we call Resilient Families.
Wow,
It's a
nice.
6-month program
Mhm.
for the family to go through. So once a month, they have a family discovery session where the family spends time with the animals, learning from the animals about how they bond, how they connect with each other, how they support each other, and drawing parallels to healthy families.
Wow.
And then there's once a month, there's an opportunity for the parents to have their own session with other parents and the animals. Again, talking about positive parenting and how we can build resilience in our children and how we can really, you know, overcome life's challenges in such a way that keeps our children feeling steady and strong and safe. Um,
So beautiful.
so, and then at the same time that the parents are doing that, the children are having their own sessions with the animals. So they get together and get to support each other and learn and grow. And then
Mhm.
once a month, there's a contemplative practice that the families do together. So, and each month will be something different. So we can try different kinds of practices. So one month it might be a guided meditation. One night it might be Qigong. One month it might be yoga, like, so we look for different opportunities to expose people to things, practices that can help us calm, and that as a family, if we grow into habits, can really help strengthen our bonds. So that's just, I went kind of more in depth in that one because I wanted you to get kind of an example of what one of those programs would look
Yeah.
like. And we have multiple programs, for first responders, for middle school kids who are struggling, different groupings. But like that, we try to create things to meet specific challenges. And really, the goal is to empower people
Mhm.
to build those relationships with the animals and with nature so that they reconnect with themselves, because we truly all have the wisdom that we need inside us to heal from anything,
Yeah.
but we have to reconnect with nature to get back to that part of ourselves because we block it with all the unnatural things that we do every day just living our lives.
Yeah. Well, I cannot agree more. I think I just thought first I wanted to ask you, so you have different programs like volunteering and tours and workshops and summer camps and internships and a lot, but then you come with these things that
Yeah.
you just explained, which are even deeper, even, I mean, they combine it all. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And on your homepage, I checked a little bit out, and I would suggest everyone who listens to this podcast today, check out the homepage. It will be written in the show notes. Please click on it, check it out, look what you can do and how you can get involved and help. And on your homepage, you share many stories of the animals, and they're really beautiful stories as well. Would you like to share one of the stories that touched your heart a lot? I mean, I can't imagine every story touched your heart, of course, but would you like to share one story that was for you, like really, I don't know, one that you want to share, a beautiful story? We heard a lot of things that have not just been easy.
Yeah.
Let's share a beautiful one.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me tell you about Penny Love. And Penny Love was one of the first cows I ever rescued.
Mm.
She was actually raised, I don't know if you have 4-H in Europe, um, but it's a 4-H in the United States. It's a club where they try to get kids to raise farm animals. Like each kid gets an animal and then they raise the animals and then they sell them, usually for slaughter.
Okay.
So it often becomes, and a lot of the sanctuaries in the United States get calls, from the kids when it's time to actually sell the animals because they then become attached and they just don't really understand the whole process that now I've raised this animal, now the animal's getting killed, and it's very difficult for them.
Mm.
So Penny was raised by some kids in a 4-H program. And for some reason, she was able to escape being slaughtered, probably because she was female, and she was bought by a farmer. So he was using her for breeding. He farmed he sold cows for beef, to use for beef. So he wanted to use her for breeding. So he had her for many, many years, and she lost babies every year, of course. And unfortunately, this particular farmer had the belief that, he was into all this organic stuff, and he had the belief that the hormones that run through the animals' bodies when they're experiencing fear and pain would make the meat taste better.
Ah, wow.
So he would slaughter them on site in view of the other cows in a manner that he thought would make the meat taste better. So she had watched her babies every year have this happen to them. And it was awful. She was heartbroken, and yet still somehow was so loving and kind to us humans. So we, were able to rescue her and brought her to Indraloka, and she was with us for many years. And in that time, we learned that she didn't need any fences and in fact shouldn't have them, because she was such a mother that whoever on the grounds needed mothering, whether it be a little chicken or whether it be an orphaned kitten that someone had found, or whether it be a sheep who's just sad because they're elderly and they've lost one of their elderly friends, or whoever it was, or whether it be a human being. She was just always seeking people out and providing such love and comfort and such a sense of sort of like groundedness and strength that she just conveyed. So we didn't fence her at all. She would just walk to any gate and we would open that gate for her, and she would go in and out as she pleased.
Amazing.
She used to like to join when we would have field trips come and we would have a picnic lunch. She would like to join the kids for lunch and steal their salad, which was fun. She would sometimes come to the front door of my house too, which was where my kitchen was when I was making a salad, and she just loved lettuce. And she would just, moo outside the door until I came out with some salad for her.
Nice.
So that was awfully fun.
Yeah.
So Penny was this beautiful being that touched so many of us. And after she died, she lived to a good long age, and she had a beautiful death, surrounded by people of many species who loved her. And after she died, more humans came out to me with more stories of ways that she had helped them that I didn't even realize.
Wow.
One of them was a woman who wrote to me about how she had lost a child. She had lost a 4-year-old child, and this had been, years past, but she was still so devastated by this loss and so lost in her own grief, she could not crawl out of it. It was, for a mother to lose a child, as we know, is a special kind of pain. Penny understood that pain. And so this woman, Sue was her name, told me about a time that she had seen Penny sitting alone on a hillside, and went over and sat down with her. And they just sat together for a long time in the quiet, nothing going on, nobody interfering. And Penny just looked at her with these eyes that were so loving. And this woman, Sue, felt that Penny grieved with her and understood her loss and understood her pain, but then also just, shared the hope that she felt now, that the life that she had recovered, and the new loves that she had found, and the babies of many species that she had taken as her own. And Sue, for the first time, felt she was ready to start healing. And that was the beginning of her long journey back, back to life. And she stay in touch with Sue. This was years ago, and she's doing really well now. She's living a beautiful, meaningful, joyful life. And it doesn't mean that she doesn't grieve her child, and she will always grieve her child. But just like Penny, she was able to hold her grief in one hand and her love and joy in another hand, and, experience both of those at the same time.
Wow. Yeah. Such a beautiful story. I love it. So beautiful. Yeah. Wow, there's so much wisdom in it. It's so amazing. I love it. Yeah, that's the thing. Like the animals, they have been like in this case, Penny, I would even think, was going through so much pain done by humans, put by us, my species, our species, onto her. And yet she believes in the good of people. Yet she sees also the good side, and she doesn't hate people because of what she was going through. It's like a pure, huge pile of love. And that is so amazing.
Over and over and over again. I see it with these animals that have been through so much, and they still have open hearts, and they still want to help, and they still want to love, and they still want to give. They're just so generous.
So amazing. I love this story. I'm pretty sure that everybody who was listening now is like really, really, really touched. And everybody who's listening also, if you want to support, you can, but let Indra explain how. So how can people support your sanctuary, or how can they support your work that you're doing there, this fantastic, amazing work?
Thank you so much for asking. You can donate on our website. There's a link to donate. You could send a check. You could come and visit us. If you're, in the United States, or if you're traveling to Pennsylvania, you're very welcome to visit and join us for some of our events or volunteer with us. And, even if you're far away, I'll tell you what, we could use a lot of prayers. Prayers, meditations, sending us your love and your strength can really help all of us here on the ground doing the work, because there are times that it's heartbreaking. There are many times that there are animals that we can't save. There are many times that we experience terrible situations that unfortunately we're legally not even able to get involved in and try to help. Or sometimes when we rescue the animal, it's too late, and the only thing that we can do is compassionately euthanize them. So all of that, it's a lot. We're grateful to do it. We love doing it. We have the other side of it, which is the joy, but certainly good energy and meditations or love and prayers, in addition to donations and volunteering, all of those things are so helpful. Or even just following us on social media and sharing the things that we post there.
Yeah.
You'd be amazed how many doors that can open.
Oh, yes, that's the thing, because we're all, we have a network. Everybody has friends. If you share these stories and the pictures and the love from this beautiful sanctuary, then other people might be aware of it and want to help. Maybe you cannot help if you're listening today, but maybe your friends can and want, so just share it. And I think that you also have merchandise products as well that people could also buy.
Yeah, we have a store online and a store on site as well. We've got art, we've got NFTs, and we've got apparel. We've got
even NFTs, people.
Yeah,
so
we do.
Very, very, very amazing. And also in future, everybody of the SANUSPLANET community, you can send some coins, because Indraloka is also did sign up, and you can send them a little bit of support by sending a few coins, Sanus coins, if you want to. And that's a possible donation as well, if you want to. So people, guys, all of you, get involved and help. And help this beautiful sanctuary to sustain and to move on with the amazing work that they're doing. Indra, how do you see the future of Indraloka? And how do you see the future of the world in general? Is there a kind of a bright feeling within you for both, for Indraloka and for the world in general? What do you think?
I think that in the end, the light will always win. So yes, there is always going to be a bright feeling. And I do believe that Indraloka and the many other wonderful sanctuaries that are out there, we will be a big part of that, because we humans need other animals probably more than they need us, but really what we need to do to heal our species and to heal our earth is we need to reconnect. We need to remember that we are animals ourselves, and that we are all related, that we are all connected, and that what we do to one happens to us all.
Yeah.
That's what sanctuaries teach us. That's what the animals teach us.
So amazing. Is there another message that you still want to share with the community? I mean, something else that I did not ask, or that you want to share because you want to spread that word?
Yeah, well, if people are interested in hearing more stories like Penny's story and learning more about the ways that animals can help us, sign up for our newsletter. You can go right to our website and sign up to our newsletter, and that'll have different content in it and more content than what you'll find on social media. And soon we're going to be really diving into a lot of work around trauma and resilience and joy and what it means to create joy intentionally in our lives and how do we do that. So all that's coming, and I invite all of you to be part of the journey.
Oh, amazing. I love it. Thank you so much, Indra, for sharing this and for sharing all of what you do, what you work on so hard and so compassionate. And yeah, I see already that we will, with SANUSPLANET as well, support you. And I'm pretty sure that everybody who listens today is happy to be part of that and to share and to help. And yeah, I cannot say thank you enough for everything you do. It's so beautiful and
Thank
lovely
you.
community. Lovely community. Everybody who was listening, please also get in touch, get involved, share, spread the word, join, support, whatever you can do. Okay. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Indra, for your time. It was so beautiful talking to you.
Thank you. Always good to talk to you, Maggie.
See you. Bye,
Bye-bye.
guys. Bye.